looks good. Looks good. We're looking good. We're looking good. What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope... Oh, sorry about that. Hope that everything is set up all right. Hope that you guys are doing all right. Woo! What are we listening to, guys? What are we listening to? Oh, let me pull up my album and the music and everything. What's that? That can't be right. No. We're listening to Robert Fripp today. We're starting our album listen of Exposure. Robert Fripp, 1979. This is one of the albums that I had posted on a poll. The poll simply said, choose one. There was never a choice, necessarily. I was going to do all the albums the whole time. It didn't matter which one was leading or which one was... It didn't matter. I was going to do them all no matter what. So, we're going to begin with the first side, Robert Fripp's album, Exposure. I'm really excited to listen to this one. I've heard so much about this album for such a long time. I did do a little bit of a read-up on the Wikipedia page, at least just to get an idea of like where Fripp's mind was at this time. Maybe not exactly what to expect, but just to get an insight into him. And I thought one of the coolest things was his aim with the music. I think this quote that I'm about to read is like something I've been saying for a long time, but Fripp says it so much better. He says that the aim with this album and some other albums that were included in a trilogy was to investigate the pop song as a means of expression. I think it's an incredibly good way of putting forward ideas. This is the important part. I think it's a supreme discipline to know that you have 3 to 4 minutes to get together all your lost emotions and find words of one syllable or less to put forward all your ideas. It's a discipline of form that I don't think is cheap or shoddy. I have been saying that it is so hard to make a pop song for years and no one listens to me. It is true, like, to take all these elements and to put it together in a 3 or 4 minute song, but still get the point across is incredible. So I'm excited to hear like how Fripp executes that idea in this album. There are so many stars on this album. Peter Hamill, gotta admit that's the first name I'm drawn to. Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates. Peter Gabriel. Tony Levin. Narada Michael Walden. Phil Collins. Brian Eno. You got some names on here. So we're at least going to take the first side today of the album. That will be the songs Preface, You Burn Me Up, I'm a Cigarette, Breathless, Disengage, North Star, Chicago, NY3, not NYC, but NY3, and Mary. So we're going to go ahead and take the first side of the album. I'll probably let either 1 or 2 songs run, then I'll talk about them, or kind of pause to discuss as I feel. But letting the whole song play. You know how we do it here. That's all I got to say. I think that was a long enough intro. Hope you guys are excited. Obviously, the music will be cut here. You know where to find it. And let's begin. Preface. Make sure my shuffle's not going. Let's go. Are you excited?
Can I play you?
I do have to stop it there because that is completely out of the world of what I was expecting out of this so far. I mean, we're only 2 tracks in, 1 song in, but completely different. Like, I wasn't expecting King Crimson, but I'm still thinking like Fripp. You know, like I still have a certain idea, a certain art that I'm expecting to hear from him. This went straight like rock and roll like 60s rock and roll, blues, those strong blues keys, the standard bars, and then the drumming is really nice as well. There was a little snippet in the middle where some spoken word was spoken. And for just a moment, the music sounded like it was going to kind of change into something a little bit more abstract. But it wasn't long before we kicked right back into this into this like just straight rock and roll formula. Like, that only lasted a blip, and then we moved right past it. Daryl Hall is singing on this one. Has the perfect voice, I think, for a kind of classic rock and roll tone in here. Now I'm gonna admit, sounds good. Yeah. Just because of the sound of it, I was kind of like, if I could, Daryl Hall did great. If I could switch out for a different vocalist, I would like to hear Brian Ferry do this. A little Fripp and Ferry, come on, like, to me that's a match made in heaven right there. But yeah, either way, it sounded great from Hall. I wasn't expecting such a throwback, basically. You know, I guess because I'm used to this progressive scene, especially from Fripp, I'm expecting something completely different. And in the beginning, we got some experimentation, which sounded like I thought I heard some Peter Gabriel in that. Not in the speaking part in the first track, but it sounds like there's vocals that are sampled. And then someone's just playing on, you know, keys. Maybe not sampled is the word, but in tapes. I don't know. Someone's doing some manipulation, maybe some Frippertronics. And I could hear some voices that were being harmonized, obviously, in there. And I would like to say that I heard one of them being Peter Gabriel. He has a kind of distinct voice. But otherwise, I think that sounded like it was just like a little introductory experimentation before we move forward to the rest of this album. Let's talk about these lyrics, though. You burn me up, I'm a cigarette. You hold my hand, I begin to sweat. You make me nervous, oh, I'm nervous. It must be real bad karma for this to be my dharma with you. You burn me up like a cigarette. My life with you is a losing bet. You make me crazy, oh, I'm going crazy. Your therapeutic antics, well, they really make me frantic with you. I mean, the message is pretty straightforward, but I do like the way that it's written, especially in this next section. Strategic interaction, irreducible fraction, terminal inaction, and a bitter hostile faction. I'm getting anxious. I'm fractious. Is fractious a word? I'm going to admit, I've never heard that word. Fractious? Fractious. Hold on, it's an Urban Dictionary. Someone who is frantic and anxious at all the same time. Okay. I've just never heard of fractious. Transactional diseased are the only thing that pleases. You burn me up, I'm a cigarette. I don't even exactly know what it means. You burn me up, I mean, it's taking kind of like the idea of like a classic kind of like that romanticized like Frank Sinatra kind of look, like Pack Rats, like, you know, you burn me up like a cigarette. I don't know, there's something romanticized kind of about it. Smoke me. Smoke me, I'm a cigarette. Otherwise, really good instrumentation all around. I think that this was just a really quick poppy hit to get you into the mix. I am really curious to hear where this album goes from here, though. So let's move on to the next track, which is going to be Breathless. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of Burn Me Up, and we'll let it lead in. Word for you on that one. I got one word for you on Breathless. Red. That's the most King Crimson we... that's as soon as that riff started, it's because of that tone that Fripp's get out of that guitar. Wow, 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 wow. Like, that tone is just unmistakably King Crimson, Robert Fripp, and then the way that it all plays around that, he gets such a tonal effect out of the guitar. Because at several points through the song, I was like, ooh, that sounds like synthesizer. And I'm looking here on the personnel, and I'm like, doesn't seem like it's anyone playing synthesizer on this track. That's just Fripp doing his Frippertronics, his magic. He's a man of many hats. And it all comes from this guitar. And all the equipment that he uses. Like, he creates such a special atmosphere and surrounding and setting for the music to take place in. For the rest of the musicians to do their thing. Did you hear Levin? Oh my god. Along with Narada. Because, Narada's playing on this one. Levin and Narada. Listen to just how, like, in step they are. How they play off each other. It's insane. Like, I enjoyed the atmosphere and that setting, like I said, that Fripp created. But I was really listening to Narada and Levin just kind of bounce back and forth rhythmically between themselves with the elasticity and tension of a rubber band. and they were letting go and snapping. I was taken back. I was gonna say Neurotic, but then I thought Levin too, and then I thought Fripp too. I'm taken aback by all of them. This was a 4-minute, not a pop song, but a snippet of a Red era King Crimson. Was this before or after Red actually came out? I could look that up really quick. It makes sense if it was after. I'm not exactly sure. This was released 1979. King Crimson Red was released 1974. Okay, yeah. So it makes sense that this kind of tone continued on after Red a little bit. That's really cool. That's cool. That's a heavy song. As soon as that riff starts, like I said, and then he just plays around with that, introducing all different atmospherics into it. I'm with it. Let's move on to the next one, which is Disengage. Play a little bit left of Breathless again. All right, we'll back it up when we, get into the next track. All right, first of all, one of the fun things about listening to this album right now is like seeing, of course, the personnel list and listening out for them and being like, man, there's Phil Collins. Man, there's Peter Hamill. It's fun to see and hear these guest appearances in the album. It's such a strong album so far, with Fripp doing all of his thing. This is once again just heavy. I love what Levin does every once in a while on this track. You hear him go, wow. He throws a little bone out in there. But Hamill comes here with no subtlety. He comes in here with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. He is just shrieking, screaming, coming with some punk rock in there. He is none of that subtlety from some of the, more thoughtful Van de Graaff Generator songs. He's just coming in here hard and heavy. I love the last time when he says disengage, he pierces. He pierces on it. And then you have some organ on here that's played by Barry Andrews. Now, Barry Andrews, he's primarily known for being formerly of XTC. All this talent, guys. And he's worked with Brian Eno, too. He's, I guess, been in a band called Shriekback. Which, speaking of Peter Hamill, he's shrieking. And I'm taking it back. And speaking of taking it back, in the beginning there was a conversation happening, and I literally pressed my headphones closer to try and hear what they were saying. And then the music just kicked in and legitimately scared me. God, it scared me. I couldn't even pay attention to the first few riffs or whatever because the music was, I was frightened, to be honest. But yeah, what a performance from Peter Hamill. I would imagine if you listen to this album and you weren't aware of some of these musical guests, for example, Peter Hamill, I would think that you would be really impressed by what they're doing on here, and you'd want to hear more. Let's do these lyrics. Miss Marion is strict with her servant. Behind locked doors, over coffee they speak. They speak to my sister and my parents, and I'm trying hard not to shriek. Disengage, disengage, disengage. She decodes my secrets and my fragments. I'd create any betrayal for their sake. She asked me to wait in the hallway where I'm doing my best not to shake. Disengage. Something's happening. I don't think it's a good situation. Something's happening. Muttering words to her, for her convenience, I start to head for the door. Miss Marion screams over my shoulder, walking out's just another metaphor. Disengage. It's not a good situation. She decodes my secrets. I'd create any betrayal for their sake. Like the adults are having a conversation. They speak to my sister and my parents. So why are they talking? Who, I guess? Miss Marion? Who's talking to my sister and my parents, and why? And it looks like they're coming for him next. Disengage. Well, it seemed like it was leading into the next song, which is North Star. Hold on. I don't know. I mean, the first line says Miss Marion is strict with her servant. The next song is called North Star. Could this be like a slavery kind of thing, like running away? I don't know. Let's actually go ahead and listen to the next song, though. Maybe there's some sort of connection between that. Let me back it up a little bit in Disengage. It's going to be a little loud, but here it comes. 3, 2, 1.
How clear, now time, I'm still tonight. Star.
Mate Kudasai. I'm just saying I can't be the only one. I can't be. What a brilliant change of pace from Disengage this is. Completely flipping the coin, turning the tables over, and just setting sail on some cool, near jazzy chords from Fripp. Loving his guitar here. Love how it just whispers with sea breezes. Hall's performance, I think, is also really noticeable here. It's really cool in both the songs that he's been featured in thus far that we're getting two completely different worlds of vocal performances from him. The first, just rocking, rolling, slapping, and happening. Don't know what that means. This one is sailing, tranquil, serene, mean and green. I don't even know what I'm doing. But like, it's two worlds apart, which shows, one, a brilliant diversity in someone who's highly regarded in their pop efforts, and how cool it is to hear them with Fripp now doing their thing here. Like I said, the music echoes towards jazz without fully devoting itself to it. It rides this light acoustic wave of melody, and I think that this is just a perfect like break, especially after the intensity of Disengage. And as we move forward into the next track, which is Chicago, which we're going to listen to in just a second. But before that, let's talk about these lyrics on North Star, which maybe it doesn't have relation to the previous song, but on other hand, it could. Absolutely. North Star, we stare, how far, how clear. Now touch here, now warm, now near. So it could be relating literally to the North Star and slavery and escaping, which I thought was kind of being hinted at in the previous song. Or it could really be attributed to anything. Any sort of hope, any sort of journey and the end goal. Because we do talk about endings and beginnings later on. And the second verse, now here, touch, it's warm. So before it was something so distant like a dream, but now it's become a warm reality. Within, with you love, with love, how sweet and how filled. Now time, now touch, how sweet. I'm still tonight, time still, because we're together. We've achieved this dream together. North Star, we stare, how far, how clear. We repeat that. I stand in the hallway, so we kind of come back to this place, this house. I stand in the hallway, she stands in the hall, I stand at the doorway, she stands at the door. I lean in the window, she leans on the wind. I wait for beginnings, she waits for the end. Okay, let's kind of take this back a second. They're both pretty much in the same place. I stand at the hallway, she stands at the hall. I stand at the doorway, she stands at the door. I lean in the window, and she leans on the wind. Like, maybe it's two lovers. Like, I'm thinking teenage love, okay? Like, someone sneaking to someone's house, so they're trying to reach up for that kiss. One leans on the window, one's leaning on the wind, and he waits for the beginning, she waits for the end. I like it. Let's move on to this next track here, which is going to be Chicago. Let me pull it back a little bit to North Star just to play a little bit of the ending. Let's go.
Try so hard to charm her with the minor mystery. So what kind of rain does half of its ground smile like Chicago?
how cool is it to have this 2-minute little sophistopop song, 2 minutes, Peter Hamill on a sophistopop song with just a little bit of that Fripp, so you hear that really frizzy, like synthy kind of movement that kind of statics away like into wavelengths of this music, and then Peter Hamill over a sophistopop song. Brilliant vocal performance. I thought short, but oh God, how sweet! Like, oh God, I could listen to him singing this. I could put this track on repeat. I would. This is a track that's 2 minutes, and I'm like, give me more. Come on. This is one of those tracks that I am 100% like, give me more. I couldn't find exactly who's playing piano on here. I'm not 100%. Oh, no. Never mind. I literally just found it because I'm looking a little harder than I was before. It's Daryl Hall, actually, playing the piano here. God. What a league of extraordinary gentlemen we have here. I'm loving Hamill on this one. I mean, I don't know how much I can embellish on that, but I'm really loving Hamill on that one. I smile like Chicago, she laughs like the breeze. I try so hard to charm her with minor mysteries. I collide with her softness, with the whispers and pleas, echoes of her movements, delicate obscenities. I don't know what it's about. It's a 1/4 rain dance, half of it is prayer. It's the simplest romance, rattles high in the air. She's the gentlest pretender. I'm a clown on a spree. Still, it's sweet to remember the way it might be. I smile like Chicago. Hey, I really like these lyrics. How? Who wrote these? That's one thing I actually forgot to look at. Chicago. I see the writers on here are Hall, Walton. Who's Walton? And Fripp. Let me see if I can find out who's Walton, because I don't think I've mentioned them. I see Walden. Walton. Hold on, let me do a Control F on this. Walton. Okay, a lot of the songs on here are written by Walton. It's right in the beginning. Most of the lyrics were provided by the poet and lyricist Joanna Walton, who was later killed on Pan Am Flight 103. Ooh. Okay, so Joanna Walton is primarily writing these lyrics. I really like those lyrics here for Chicago. That's, to me, a beautiful way of describing a little rendezvous. But yeah, Peter Hamill, love him. Let's move on to the next track, which I didn't even look up. That is going to be NY3. And how about this? Let's just let NY3 and Mary, let's let both of those play out. We'll finish out side one. We'll discuss it. Maybe there's more Peter Hamill involved. One can wish and hope.
You could be so lonely. It became my deepest wish. Came with volumes of feeling. To give her my love, to embrace her forever.
First of all, I think there's a bit of a concept in these past few songs. Second of all, you cannot blame me for thinking that was Joni Mitchell. I know there's going to be a comment. How could you get Tara Roche confused with Joni Mitchell? I wasn't expecting. I was expecting it. I didn't even have the lyrics up. Beautiful ending to side one with Mary. Very, very delicate singing from Miss Roche. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She is one of the members of the songwriting and vocal group, the Roches, or Roches? I'm not trying to disrespect them. I just don't know how to pronounce their name. Roche? I would think it's Roche. But gorgeous singing. I thought there was someone missing on the personnel, and I was like, is Miss Mitchell on this album? But regardless, She sounded absolutely beautiful on here. And I like how Fripp played according to her dynamics, according to her movement. And it was like they were duetting and dancing with one another. That was really beautiful. NY3, hear me out. Obviously, I love Prague, but like I'm not so into like just twisting and turning signatures just to do it. And I didn't really enjoy the way that NY3 played. It sounded like someone was having an argument in the background of it all, which didn't really add or take away. It was just kind of like, why are you there? But I'm gonna have to look into what was being said there. But besides that, I mean, the riffing is cool. When it gets into this part, I think it's kind of cool. And I like that. I think it's a synth line, but for all I know, it could just be Fripp playing on top of that. I like that. Once again, it's that atmosphere that he built. To be honest, in the beginning, it reminded me a little bit of UK. I've only heard one album from them, but it reminded me a little bit of UK. Now, if you got Jobson on there, pulling off some violin, you might have something. But it kind of seemed like a Fripp and the band jam session. Like, this is a track I didn't feel like it went anywhere. I don't feel like it did anything. I felt it just kind of existed. It feels a little bit filler-ish to me, to be honest. There's nothing in it that stands out and says, ooh, this is a really good track. It's just, to me, like, okay, it's a cool riff. I do like the guitar work in there. Matter of fact, I like all the instrumentation. I'm just not into the presentation. See, like, when that really high line comes in, I'm like, ooh, that's Jobson from UK. Not from UK, but at least playing in UK, because that's what I'm kind of associating it with. But it doesn't have the nocturnal suave that UK does with Jobson there. Let's go ahead and finish this side of the album talking about these last two lyrics on these tracks. So I think that the conversation that was being had, or the situation that was happening in Disengage, may have been like the little brother seeing or overhearing a conversation the sister was having with the parents. North Star. And then, okay, I do think it's about slavery or something. Maybe not slavery, but like there's some racial tensions and relations and stuff going on here. Yeah. Because look at the lyrics for not Chicago, NY3. So it's a back and forth between father and daughter, and they're both saying, your house, my house, your house, my house, blah, 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 blah. And then, well, get out. There's the door. There's the door. So here's what I'm getting, and here's what I'm seeing. I don't know what the time period this is set in. I'm thinking slave times in America just because of the song North Star. But white girl, black guy, fell in love, got together. That was the Chicago. And the beautiful and poetic way that their night together was described. Now, as we find out later in this song, she's pregnant. Okay? Father is vehemently against this. Father is not a little bit, he a bit racist. He mentioned some words in here. Mother he's also too. Father says, it's not your house, it's not your house. Mother says, and you're a cocaine sniffer, you're a cocaine sniffer. Don't call me a slut. Mother, you're carrying a baby. You don't know whether it's, and she mentions a bunch of different hate terms, basically. And they're saying, you don't know if you're carrying this kind of baby, this kind of baby, this kind of baby. Who knows what you've been doing behind our backs with who knows who. And then eventually daughter is basically kicked out. And then, let's go to the lyrics on the next song, which is Mary. That creature could be so lonely. It became my deepest wish to give her my love, to embrace her forever, and to have her find some peace. So who was so lonely? Came with volumes of feeling that I have never known, except perhaps for Mary. She was always my sister, she was always my sister. This is from the point of view of the other sibling who had originally seen and overheard the conversation and fight over on Disengage. And he's talking about this creature and these feelings that they've never felt before. Could be talking about his sister, who's going through all these things. Could also be about the baby. These new feelings, this new love. A creature that could be so lonely and only wanting to give it love. That's beautiful. It became my deepest wish to give her my love, to embrace her forever, and to have her find some peace. She was so lonely, came with volumes of feeling I have never known except perhaps for Mary, and she was always my sister. That's really cool. And by the way, how beautiful does Terry sing that? I really thought it was Joni Mitchell for a second, but that's a really beautiful ending to the side. A really intense story that I wasn't expecting either. I'm assuming that's a story. From what I can tell, I mean, it seems like it's pretty clear when I'm sitting here reading the lyrics and everything, but yeah, this is a really, really good album so far. First side, complete. Hope that you guys, first of all, enjoyed it. Next side, we got some Peter Gabriel coming in on a few of these tracks. We got some good stuff coming up, huh? I would say that so far on this album, my favorite tracks were... I really like Chicago. I just really like what Hamill's doing. It's 2 minutes, but I'm wishing there was more from Chicago. NY3. And then I'd probably go maybe North Star. I think Chicago's my favorite right now. But hey, you never know what it's going to be like as we finish out the album with the next side. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. Hope that you guys enjoyed the music. Of course, you're more than welcome to come back tomorrow for whatever else we're doing on the channel. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to read some random takes and tweets that I put out every once in a while. I don't tweet a lot, but occasionally. You can, of course, support the channel on Patreon if you like to do that. Helps a lot, but you don't have to. It's the great thing. You can watch here. You can watch over there. It's all free and open. Do as you wish. But I hope that you do enjoy the videos, the music, first and foremost, and then myself, last but not least, hopefully. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you later.